Believe it or not, the controversy rolls on whether there's enough oversight of the government bailout money that's headed to AIG. Here now from Washington this morning is a Democratic Congressman from Pennsylvania, Paul Kanjorski. He's a member of the House Financial Services Committee, chairman of the Capital Markets Subcommittee. Congressman, good to have you back. Good morning to you.
Good morning. We
should explain some of the backstory on this. You've been watching some of these deferred compensation payouts that the company was giving to some of its employees. You caught them trying to accelerate some of those. They agreed to hold them back, but you're still not completely satisfied that there's enough oversight. Is that fair?
Well, that's fair. I just want to give some credit to my fellow colleague, Joe Crowely of New York. He helped call it to my attention, and together we we communicated with AIG. What had happened, they'd paid out a series of deferred compensation to their executives. And we raised the question with them whether they had filtered and vetted those compensations adequately. And then they made an effort to do that, and they discovered that they exceeded $93 million in excess payouts to former executives and others that weren't entitled to some of the money. So it was a savings of the taxpayers' money of $93 million. But what we did is then turned it around and notified Dr. Bernanke, the Fed chairman, and the Secretary of Treasury, Paulson, and asked them why, if we just by making a simple inquiry of AIG could help save $93 million, why couldn't they do the same thing?
And you point out this was really, this did not take a lot of deep digging. You made a few phone calls, your staff did, and boom, there's $93 million. Do you think that the company was doing something nefarious? Were they trying to sneak under the wire?
Oh, no. As a matter of fact, I want to make that point if I can today. The fact that they acted as well as they did, as quickly as they did, and their CEO is going to meet with me on Thursday to discuss this very issue because they're a TARP company. They are operating under somewhat different rules. But I think what the essence of this whole thing is that now with the new administration, new Secretary of Treasury, and although Dr. Bernanke will still be there, there's an opportunity for a new life here. I think we have to clearly, particularly with the new release of the $350 billion that's occurring, we have to make the point with the government officials that if we have to hire new people, if we have to have overseers, whatever we have to do, that can't be hardly expensive enough to save billions of dollars or at least hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, you know, we have Congressman Cummings on the show quite a bit. He's made quite a bit of political hay about the amount of money that Liddy and AIG are paying to some of their workers. Is that political fuel that you're willing to buy?
Well, political fuel, did you say?
Yeah. Are you willing to leverage that to get some favor from your constituents?
No. I'll tell you, I don't think Mr. Cummings is doing that either. I think what we're doing is we're caught here in a vice to have to get something done with that we are not used to because we're legislators primarily. We're not oversight people or inspectors or supervisors. And we're caught up in a tremendous disaster here, costing trillions of dollars, and we're not familiar with dealing with it. We're relying on the federal government's executive branch under this president and now under the new president. And what we have to do is get a little positive here. We have to recognize this is such a big deal and such a great crisis that there will be some losses. There will be things done that aren't acceptable. And what we have to do is close those holes as much as we can, but ever recognize that we can't stop the process nor starve the solution to the crisis by nitpicking. We have to move towards solving the problem of the economic crisis and take such action in government and in private industry to accomplish that. And I think this is a good example of showing that's being done.
Understood. You mentioned the TARP. One brief question on the TARP. You know, we're seeing the occasional soundbite or quote in the paper about concerns about the second tranche. They want more oversight. They're worried about, obviously, government spending. Do you feel that the environment on the Hill is conducive to getting that second tranche passed?
Well, you know, most people are misunderstanding that. If the Hill can't pass a resolution, then automatically by law the second tranche will be released.
Right.
So that's really not in jeopardy, and I'm sure they won't have a vote up. I think the most important thing here is we have an opportunity to pass Barney Frank's bill, the chairman of the committee, and that will send a message to the Obama administration and to the banks involved that we're very serious, that we're going to be working very hard to see that we can save taxpayers' money, but on the other hand, that we're earnest in getting a solution to one of the gravest disasters since the Great Depression.
We're going to have you on the show next week during Inauguration Week. Excited for that, Congressman.
Looking forward to it.
We'll see you in Washington, D.C. Congressman Paul Kanjorski, our guest co-host next Monday from 7 to 9 a.m. as we get ready for an exciting week.